All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you again for joining us today. We are going to be talking about customer service. So you have me on this webinar, Jane Stevens, and Barb Hunt is here as well. And we have Manoj Mena, who recently joined us. He's one of our newest growth managers. So hopefully you can hear all of us. Barb, are you there?
Hi there, I'm here. Jane, you sound a little bit far away.
Okay.
There you go, better.
Much better?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. And Manoj, are you there as well? Can we hear you?
It doesn't look like his mic is on, so we'll just carry on.
All right, so we'll get started. So again, we're talking about customer service today. So Barb, I'll actually let you talk about the importance of that first, and we'll get started with the slides.
Okay, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Basically, what we're here to talk about today is customer service. And as far as the Zolo leads, sorry about that. So with the Zolo leads, really, I think the rule of thumb with customer service is to treat people the way that you would want to be treated. And I know that that sounds like a cliche, but it's not. So if you're calling a company and you're looking for information, you have to remember our Zolo site advertises properties. It advertises the fact that we can show properties, take care of clients, etc. So when a lead signs on and they ask for help and they don't hear from an agent, that reflects poorly not only on the agent, but on Zolo. And then that opens up for that person to walk away from our website with a bad feeling about Zolo. And, you know, that we don't have good customer service. So the most important thing I think for every agent is no matter what lead comes into your account, unless it's, you know, something out of the ordinary and, you know, you reach out to your GM and say, I'm not sure if I should call this lead. Or if it's a, you know, a fake number or, you know, all of those things. But in general, the ask and the expectation really for leads is to call every single lead that comes into your CRM. So we have now, I don't know if agents have noticed, but it shows who's transferred a lead. So, you know, anybody who's just automatically transferring a lead might just get a call from their, you know, GM, only because, you know, if you call that lead and you can't service them, you know, that's fine. But you've got to leave that customer with a good feeling about Zolo and that somebody's going to reach out to them. And we'll get into what to do with a lease as well. You know, if it's a low-end lease or somebody that you can't help, don't just not call the client. So being a Zolo agent means that you service Zolo leads. And that means that every single lead that comes in is an opportunity. And I'm just going to end this little rant with two really great stories. So one story is where we had an agent who was with Zolo. Then they left Zolo because they thought the grass was greener somewhere else. And then they came back and now they've left again. But this agent never worked the leads properly. The agent didn't call every lead. It was always scrutinizing the leads. Oh, well, this lead isn't this, and this lead's not real. Well, this is a sold inquiry. Well, this is this. And you know what? I'm sure we've all gone down that road a little bit where we're not happy with every lead that comes in, but that's the way the game works. That's the way lead-driven companies work. That's the way lead gen works. It's a numbers game, but most importantly, you're representing Zolo and you're representing yourselves. So what happened with this agent, he basically called a lead and the lead said that they weren't qualified with a mortgage yet. So the agent turned around and said, well, that's not the way I work. I'm going to need you to be pre-qualified before I take you out on showings. And the lead said, well, you know, I want to start working on that, but I want to just see a few houses first just to get my feet wet. And then I'm going to look into a mortgage. So what did that agent do? He basically said, I don't work that way. When you're ready, give me a call. And hung up. No goodbye, no nothing. So I came across this lead because the agent was on my team. And I sent it to another agent who in turn spoke to the client, got the client into a few properties, got him pre-approved, sold him the client a condo, and then sold the client's listing. And it was about $1 million worth of business. So there's a great story for you on prejudging a lead based on what the lead does and not making the attempt to make that first meeting. The other story I'll tell you is another agent who gets several, does a lot of lease deals at our company. One lease came in, it was a very high-end lease, it was about $4,000 a month. Clients lived out of town. That lead came in, agent called, turned him into a buyer, did a deal for $1.1 million, firm bidding war. So, and this agent also has their spouse who works at Zolo as well, who's also gotten several lease leads in January that have turned into buyers. So everybody, these are opportunities. Our expectation is you call every lead. If you can't service them, then we go down the next step on how to get them to the proper agent. And that's my little rant for this morning. Thanks everyone for being here.
Thanks, Barb. Yeah, great stories and both really good examples of how you just never know. So always provide these leads the best possible customer service. You just don't know what it will result in. It may come in as a lease, maybe even a low-end lease. I had an example recently where it was a low-end lease. Turned out it was for the gentleman's son, and he had a property that he needed to sell. So again, you just never know what the situation is. So ask the right questions, go out on showings, and if you provide that excellent customer service, hopefully that converts into future business for you. We do have Manoj on the line now. Hi, Manoj, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, thanks so much. So
Oh,
yes,
wonderful.
Manoj is one of our growth managers, and he has lots of experience, huge background in customer service. So I'll let you introduce yourself, Manoj.
Yeah, hi everybody. This is Manoj Mehta. I'm the new growth manager here. I do have some background in customer service and sales industry. So I'm just going to talk to, let's say what a good customer service, or let's say what is customer service actually to everybody. It's actually an art of emotionally connecting with your clients, nothing else. You provide them with an experience that will fulfill their needs, that will address their needs, and in turn, it's going to suitably reward you and the company. It's all about, I would say, it's branding yourself and your organization where you're working right now. Like I'll give you examples of people and companies, just to name a few, like for example, Amazon, Apple, American Express, JetBlue, Ritz-Carlton. They're all very, very successful organizations because they heavily focus on their customers. And how are you going to do that? In order to make it happen, I would say you need the right attitude. When I say right attitude and why it's so important. So let's put it this way, and Jane is going to go to the next slide. Attitude is actually everything. By having the right attitude, you're actually setting up a foundation for that possible interaction and the sale that you're eagerly waiting for. One thing you got to remember here, though, the first interaction that you will have with your client, it's extremely critical and important for both of you. The client doesn't know who you are, and you don't know who your client is. So the relationship is going to be built on that small dialogue or that dialogue you're going to have with your client. So it's all up to you that you have to build the rapport in that interaction and to gain their trust. Now, having the right attitude will give you actually both the opportunity to somewhere get to know each other, and you have an important role in making that happen. Let's say, ask a question to yourself: why they should buy it from you? Why, it's a very competitive market out there. There are over 70,000 real estate salespeople in the industry in Ontario alone. So in order to get their buy-in and gain their trust, you need to kind of brand yourself. You need to stand out out of those 70,000 that I'm your person. I'm the guy. I'm she, who's gonna, take care from here. And you already have a great, I would say, platform set up from Zolo, where the clients are actually reading out to you, like you're not making any cold calls. So it's kind of like the stage is already set up for you to take the next step to make it happen. But again, I'm going back to the point, you need to have the right attitude. So let's talk about, I've been saying so much about the attitude. What is an attitude? Now, if you look at it, it's defined, like every letter has a meaning to it. And this is very critical. I would say, like every morning when you get up, or every morning you have to pick up the call, print this slide if you can, keep it in front of you. Trust me, it's going to really help you. So A, which is always greet your clients and customers with a warm opening. Have a smile in your voice. T, treat your customers with respect. Mind you, again, they're the ones calling us and they need help, they need guidance, and they don't know you. So we need to respect them as soon as you have your first dialogue with them. Uh, Talk and emotionally connect with your clients. I mean, while I'm getting this information for you, how exciting, you must be really excited to, for your first home or, for this property. Let me see what I can do. So the many ways you can do that depends on, how you like to interact with your clients. The next one goes to interact. So again, make them feel very comfortable, have a small dialogue as you go, make the conversation going. There should not be a dead air in the call because the clients need to see or hear that you are engaging them. T stands for Ashley, and this is a very important piece. I mean, if they want apples, we need to deliver apples. So whatever they're talking, we do more probing while you're talking to them. Tailor and customize your service to your clients. So what that means is talk about, let's say if you are very familiar with the area, where where they're looking, you can see the patterns when you go to CRM, so customize your service, which should be specific to their inquiry. That will also help them to gain a trust on you that you know what you're talking about. And that goes into you, which is understanding their needs. And again, I mean, if they're talking about, let's say, a home within the range of, let's say, 750 to 850, there's really no need to discuss or bring up properties which are like, let's say, $1 million, because you already have an idea from CRM what range they're looking for, what is their pattern, are they looking for Richmond Hill only? So there's no point in bringing anything which is not on their CRM, discover. And this is very, very important because your interaction is important to your clients. So imagine, if somebody has not shown any motivation or they're disengaged with the client, they feel, okay, they're just calling in just to get this information. No, we already having a negative mindset. So you need to realize that, whatever you say and will do in that call is the impact you're going to leave with your client. So it's very important, you need to do a self-realization in terms of, okay, am I going to make a difference to this client, who's calling in or who I'm calling, and are they going to stay with me? It's all up to you at the end of the day. And the last one is E, which is excite your customers. And that's again, it goes back to all other behaviors we just spoke about. You need to, in order to get to the excite your customer, you already should have provided a great experience to your clients that, now they're happy to work with you. They're already kind of getting comfortable and they say, okay, yeah, this could be potentially a go-to person. And they look forward to meeting you. So, again, attitude, because it all lies within you. It can make or it can break a relationship. It can wow and delight your clients at the same time. So now moving on to the next one. So what is really important, because everybody is going through that, whether you get a call from a client and you pick up the phone or whether you're calling your client. I've been fairly new in the role, so I'll be very honest, but so I'm trying to understand, some behaviors, I'm making my own observations, and I've been doing a lot of call listening. So I'll just give you an example. So, I picked up the phone and, I started listening to some calls. And so one person, for example, as soon as, they picked up the phone, this was an incoming call from the client. And straight away they said, hello. There was no introduction. There was no greeting. If I'm the client, I'll feel like I dialed the wrong number, or I may have called somebody who's not willing at all. So there was altogether, what I'm trying to say is there was no personal warm greeting in the opening remarks. So there are 3 factors to the call, and this being the first one. So warm greeting and opening remarks. So how we can make that happen? How we can make sure that we start off on the right foot. So appropriate opening with your introduction, with a warm welcome, and showing the attitude in your tone with the will to assist. I'm here to help you. Hi, this is Jane from Zolo Realty. How may I help you? It's a pleasure talking to you. Like, use the keywords which will help set up a good foundation of that call. The second one in the warm greeting and opening remarks, personalize your interaction and be engaged. As I said before, great way to, start that dialogue. Okay, looks like, you're looking at buying a property or moving to a new place. This must be a good adventure, exciting, thing you may be looking forward to. And I'll make sure I'll help you in making the right decision. So it's all up to you what you do in that call and how you interact with your clients. Be polite, have a friendly yet confident and crisp tone, which is very important because regardless if you're new to, let's say, Zolo, if you're new to the real estate industry, you don't have to show to the client that you don't know anything. It happens, like, I've been there too. I mean, day two, I'm getting a call and I had no idea where to go. But the only thing I didn't do was I didn't let my client realize that, okay, I'm new. I was confident, I was crisp. I'll be happy to look into that for the information for you. Let me call you back in 10, 15 minutes when in front of my laptop. So during that 10, 15 minutes, I was able to find the right information for the client and I was ready to, go back to them and say everything with confidence and with everything on my screen. So be polite and be very confident. What's also important is the next step, you really have to demonstrate a strong will to help them. You need to have the attitude that I'm the person. Yes, absolutely. I'll be more than happy to look into that for you. How else I can assist you? So give the options to the client by showing the will and have a strong, winning attitude as soon as you pick up the call. Now, we all go through certain situations and maintaining a positive attitude and using a positive verbiage is really, really important. I'll give you my own example. It happened to me I would say about a month ago. So I had a client, who preferred to talk to me through, let's say, chatting. So, and I respect that because sometimes they're at work, but they're comfortable to, or they simply are not comfortable to talk to somebody on the phone. So she inquired me about the property and so I said, yeah, absolutely. I'll be more than happy to. And then she goes into, and then I asked her, are you currently working with a realtor? And she said, yes, I am. And she assumed that I was a listing agent. So obviously, I had to make sure that there's no conflict. So I had to, then she had a BRA, so I had to ask her the probing questions and all that. Now, potentially from what I hear when I'm listening to calls, I hear people, saying, just close, they're so eager to put the phone down or, close the conversation. But I went a step further, I said, okay, great. I'm sure your agent can pull the same information, but in the event, if they're still not, getting you all the information, I'll be more than happy to help you, get back to me and, we'll go from there. And her response was so delighting. And, I was fairly new. Let's say just prior to this role. So she goes, that's the most wonderful answer I've seen from anybody I've spoken to so far. I will keep you in mind and I will let my friends know that there is a nice person named Manoj working at Zolo Realty. So even though if I'm not getting that client, it's okay. It happens. We are an open channel. Where all kind of clients come in. We don't discriminate. For people to come to our website and use it for their advantage. That's okay. But guess what? They could be potentially your future client. So regardless of the fact, always have that positive attitude and remain optimistic that this may be my next client as we go. So again, these are the warm openings we are talking about, engaging your clients right from the beginning to the end. And the second part of the call, Jane, if we may. So this is the second and most important piece of the call, actually, because this is where you're going to do everything. You're going to maximize your potential. You're going to deliver the effectiveness. You are going to do a lot of probing, and you try to understand here what the needs are, And then you try to add value to your clients by giving them the right information, finding more information about that specific property or the neighborhood. And I would say most importantly, you make the emotional connection with your clients. So here you will be doing, I would suggest you can possibly do a few things, which is again, have the emotional connection going. I mean, I understand, what you're looking at, or maybe can I perhaps ask you some more questions so that I know exactly what I'm looking for you. So have a small talk, ask them questions. I mean, people like when we ask them questions that shows that, okay, you are seriously now working towards, fulfilling their requirement. And the second step I would say is very important as well. So be proactive, and use your client's profile in the CRM to understand their behaviors, to see their patterns, to identify what they're looking for. So again, I've said this before too. So let's say if you know that they're inquiring about a property which is in a certain area, and at the same time they've seen other properties within the same area. So this helps you establish that my client is, let's say, looking in Richmond Hill only, and this is their price range. So you already kind of prepared to ask them more relevant questions which are very specific to their needs, rather than being everywhere at the place. And it's okay to, I would say it's okay to ask the probing questions, ask them open-ended questions. Don't ask them any close-ended. When I say open-ended questions, like one of the examples I tell you is, when I'm able to connect with my client who want to, let's say, who are going back and forth with me, and I can see they're making some hits on different properties, I simply pick up the phone and I call them. I say, okay, I noticed that you've been visiting our website. I talk about our services, how they find our services. And one of the things which really works for me is, I ask them, okay, so, I have a good idea of which area you may be looking at, or you probably, let's say, trying to find a property in Richmond Hill. So when is a good day for you to go see some properties? Because I have some time on the weekend, I can, block the time for you and we can go see some properties. So now this way I'm leaving an open-ended question. If they're interested, you'll know right away. And they'll say, okay, maybe let's say weekend I'm busy. Can we do this on Wednesday rather? So now you have an opening there. So probing open-ended questions definitely will help you. And that will also help you to qualify their needs. I mean, when you ask them more, I mean, what areas are we, you may be interested in? How many bedrooms? Do you have any preference for, like, let's say a finished basement or not? So there's so many questions you can ask them, which will help again to buy that time and to have your clients gain an, okay, like kind of confidence. Okay, this person is actually asking me a lot of questions, which is good. That means then they're really trying to help me out here. And that also ties in with, you have to actually listen to your clients' needs. I mean, trust me, guys, the more actively we are listening to them and acknowledging every second, because sometimes they're talking, they may be talking a lot. So show some kind of acknowledgement. Yes, I understand. Absolutely. Use the power words, and we'll get into that a bit later. And you demonstrate that you have a strong knowledge and understanding of what you're talking about or what you're looking at, so they know that, okay, you are going to be their go-to person. And the next thing is also very important, which will, in the end, we'll take a look at it. Use a lot of power words, to show the confidence. I mean, and power words are very important because, I mean, they're very specific, but yet they're very attractive. They will make your clients also feel that, I mean, you are understanding and, you sound more professional by doing so. And the last thing of the call, again, is very, very important, is closing remarks. Now, regardless of what the outcome may be, because it may be just a simple inquiry, somebody says, oh, I was just browsing through. And that's okay, because, I mean, people do browse and they find our, our website very user-friendly, and, during that period, they may hit something or they want to inquire about a property. So it's okay. I mean, or you may have a client, where you ended up, building that relationship and now ready to show that property, let's say in the next few days. So recap, is a good idea. So Mr. Smith, It was wonderful talking to you. You know, I really enjoyed our conversation, and I hope you feel the same way. And again, just to recap, you know, we most likely got to meet on Saturday at this time. And in the event, if anything changes I'm going to go ahead, let's say I'm going to go ahead and book the properties. I will confirm with you by noon tomorrow, or, you know, whatever you want to say. And then this way you're sort of gaining commitment, and you also kind of know I would say, you know, like you're gaining, you know, some kind of a commitment from your client indirectly that they're ready to move to the next step now. Customize your closing. That again, with your personal remarks, like as I said before, you know, make it delightful for them. Have a smile in your voice. You know, it was wonderful talking to you. I'm so much looking forward to meet you guys. You know, I'm so excited to show you this property. It is a wonderful property. You know, you can't go wrong. We'll go take a look. Like, you know, there's so many ways you can engage your client. Because honestly, if you really think about, take a look at I mean, I always relate my client's experience to my own experience. What if I'm in my client's shoes? That's how I always like to, you know, tell my team members or my people that, okay, put yourself in their shoes. So think about it. Buying a house or selling a house, it's actually probably your biggest decision in your life after marriage, probably. So when it comes to, you know, so people will be very cautious, be mindful of that. People will be like, you know, like laid back. I mean, they are uncertain. And we need to kind of keep them giving on reassurance, you know, by telling them the right things, by letting them, you know, gain the confidence in us. And it's all up to us again, guys. I mean, it's all up to our attitude, how we handle the call in the opening dialogue, how we do the probing in the middle of the call, and how we appropriately do the closing remarks. A call will make a difference to you. And trust me, you will see if you do all of this, chances are you will see those next meetings, the conversions, you know, the offer acceptance happening more often as probably we are seeing right now.
Thanks,
Having
Manoj.
said,
Great.
oh, you're welcome. And the last one, I think we kind of covered all this, but you know, the power words, Jane, I mean,
Yeah, yeah, I've got that coming up.
okay,
Yeah, so I'll bring that up momentarily here.
but you can talk.
This is just a sample script, just keeping in mind that call flow that Manoj just broke down for us. So really simple, but very to the point, very effective, making sure that, as Manoj said, that first part of the call is a warm greeting. So make sure that you are introducing yourself professionally, let people know where you're calling from, and remind them what it was that they inquired about. If they are looking at other properties on different websites, you just want to let them know what it is that you're calling them about. And a super important question that I find really helpful to get the conversation going is just simply asking, how can I help you? That will get them to disclose what it is that they're looking for. But if not, of course, you can ask those questions, what it is that they're searching for in terms of area, bedrooms, budget. But then you can really get into a little bit more personal details, such as their timeline and maybe even their motivation for moving. So this is really where you get to understand their needs. And then also at this point, as Manoj mentioned, you want to add value as well. So a great question to ask is if they're familiar with the buying or renting process. And this is where you can talk to them about what to expect. So this is where they're going to start to trust you as a professional, because you're disclosing to them the process, what they can expect, but there are no surprises down the road. So that's a great question to kind of open up that dialogue and add value, inform your clients, educate them on what they're walking into, what they're starting. And then again, as Manoj mentioned, you know, closing the conversation, recapping some of the details that you just went over, and then of course converting that call to a showing. So that's really the whole idea here is to get out there and meet people face to face. So asking them at the end of the call when they would like to see the property, that is a great way to end the call. I know you mentioned the power words. I've got those here next. And Barb, I think you wanted to jump in with something.
Yeah.
Hi there, I'm here. Yes. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay, Jane?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, great. So just wanted to make a few comments in terms of the slides Manoj went over with you guys. One thing that I hear really often that sets the call on the wrong path immediately is when agents right away say, "Oh, are you buying or leasing?" I hear it all the time.
Yes, I do
Um,
too.
yeah, and it's super negative because you know how that comes across? That comes across that you want the money for a buyer, not a lease. It doesn't come across properly if you say it in the first 2 minutes of your phone call. So if everybody could remember that, try to avoid asking that unless you're asking after they've explained their situation a little bit, but it shouldn't be the first question out of your mouth to try to decide whether or not you want to work with that lead. If you think, again, like I mentioned, if you think it's a lead that you cannot work with, that's fine. But, customer service and, the same customer service, the customer's always right. Listen, guys, I know that sometimes there's customers that we deal with in real estate that are difficult, that say things that aren't true, that might accuse you of something. They might not understand why you're late for a showing. If, sometimes it's unavoidable, things like that. But these things come back as complaints, right? So at the end of the day, even if the customer is accusing you of something, like if there is an issue that arises, because let's talk about what happens when, because these things do come up. So, at the end of the day, when these clients are leaving you from a showing or anything else, you want them to leave with a positive feeling. So if you're being, if there's something that's happened that they've complained about, they're not happy about, at the end of the day, you really want to make sure that client understands, talk to them, apologize, because there is no point in, first of all, ignoring them. I see some people, I've seen it over the years where a lot of lease clients this happens with, where the agent just stops getting in touch or doesn't call them back, or, and I know why. It's because you don't want to deal with a lease. Well, you know what? Make sure that client's dealing with another agent. That's our responsibility to Zolo for these leads. We're giving the leads out. The company, goes to extensive lengths to get these leads, to build the volume of leads every year. So our ask is that you guys treat every lead that in a way that exactly the way you would want to be treated. So I just wanted to go over that. The customer's always right. You might be upset about what they say. It doesn't matter. We're in sales, and anybody who walks away with a bad feeling about Zolo is a failed exercise. So let's try to avoid those situations. If there is something that comes up, call your growth manager right away. Don't wait till the customer's emailed you 5 times. Or, as soon as we can get involved, we can call the client, smooth things over. That's why we're here. Okay, so take advantage of your managers and, come to us for that help or assistance if you're not sure what to do. So I hope that was helpful.
Absolutely. Thanks, Barb. All right, Manoj, you wanted to bring up some power words. So I've got them here. There's lots of them, but I know you're going to touch on just a few of them here.
Thanks, Jane. So once again, as I was saying earlier, using power words are definitely, they're definitely a good way to set up a good stage when we're talking about a property or when we are having a conversation. So let's say, there are some keywords I'm going to look at when you are actually in a property and it looks nice property, or when they're having a conversation on the phone with you. So you can talk about certain things by picking up some keywords from here and, make good use of them. This is a beautiful property, or, it's a terrific neighborhood, or I strongly recommend, that you should definitely consider this property because it's got a right value and it's in a great area. And when you hear some, you can feel the body, you can see the body language of your clients, and then you can tailor these words. You can say, I also feel some positive vibes in this property. It seems like it's welcoming me. How do you feel? So all these words, they're like, and these are just some, there's tons and tons out there. You just have to pick the right ones. But these words will definitely help you establish more of your clients' buy-in, and you can get an honest opinion out of them. So if you like the property and if you feel like your clients are also looking at it, more with more interest, then you can say this is a really, let's say it's very stylish, or it's in a wonderful neighborhood. This area is in high demand. This is a prestigious neighborhood. This is a beautiful property. You should stay here to pamper yourself. Every day, you feel like this is the place for you. So you're making the right choice. This is an exceptional layout. This property has a nice eye-catching frontage. So many things, I mean, you can leverage or you can use, which will help you and your client also, they can see that you are actually genuine and you're saying this. So they also kind of tend to, like listen to you while they still have to make the decision, but it helps you at least get their attention, for that specific property, the area, or whatever it may be. So power words, definitely, make full use of them. Choose your own. Google is a great tool. I mean, if you want to see some more, go there and look for, use different searches, and you will come up with some power words that you are comfortable with, and that you will find that your clients, it'll help your interaction with the client. So again, guys, going back to the whole deck, and Jane will touch on it in a bit, your interaction with the customers and the clients is really important, whether it's the first meeting, whether it's the phone conversation, whether it's your second or the third. But the client should not feel that the attitude should remain the same until you actually, have that client, or fulfill their client's needs.
Can I just touch on one thing too in terms of customer service? First of all, love all these words. I think that they're also great when you guys get a listing. So, if you look at listings and the descriptions, there's, very often, I see it more and more today, the laziness of agents putting in, just really boring descriptions of properties. So when you make a listing, remember, it's all over the internet. You want it to sound as amazing as possible. So a lot of these words are fabulous for that. And again, that's great customer service to your client, describing their property in a great way. But the one thing I wanted to mention, and I think I just lost my train of thought. Power words. Okay, I lost my train of thought. I'll come back to that.
We're going to reiterate a few things, so maybe that'll jog your memory, Barb.
Yeah.
So we have some tips here, and as I said, we have covered most of these, but just some top 10 tips for not just customer service, but really building customer loyalty. So first and foremost is to answer your phone. Of course, we're wanting you to return calls within 5 minutes.
Sorry.
So yeah, we're wanting you to reply to any inquiries that you receive within the first 5 minutes, but it goes beyond just that initial call. So once you do have that initial phone call with a lead, and you are, communicating back and forth, whether that's by phone, text, emails, whatever it is, if they call you, make sure that you're either answering your phone or you're getting back to them within a reasonable amount of time, and that you're consistent with that so that they always know that they can reach you. I think I'm going to reiterate it here again in one of the other slides, but it's just about being reliable, and that they can get a hold of you. So just really remembering to answer your phone in a timely fashion. And then listening to their needs. We've already spoken about this in depth, but of course you want to understand what it is that they're looking for, their home goals, their current mortgage situation, and then just provide them with the information that they need. So the only way you're going to know what it is that they need is by listening to what it is they're looking for. So, really having a good understanding of their goals is really important. So, and it'll set you apart from other real estate agents who don't bother to take the time to listen this way. And it'll also help you tailor your efforts. So if you've spoken to them and they've given you some indication about their timeline, it's going to tailor your efforts with them. In other words, if they're not looking to buy for another year, you're probably not going to be reaching out to them every week. It might be, every other week or once a month or whatever it is. So, you'll tailor that to their needs and to their timeline. So again, that just goes back to listening to what it is that they're looking for and when. We also have, again, the being reliable and being responsive. So, not everybody is ready right away, and that's okay. In fact, most of the time when you're speaking with home buyers, they do have a longer timeline that they're working with. So you really want, to stay in touch with them. And when they reach out to you, as I said before, you want to be responsive. You want to be consistent so that they always know that they can get a hold of you. You don't want to go weeks without checking your voicemail messages, for example. That's something that I know a lot of us can ignore. because we're waiting for that text message. But, you know, in this business, you have to check your voicemail messages and just be really responsive to people. And be a resource. So you really want to know your stuff. So continue your education. We have obviously classes at the office. We do these webinars now weekly, but also look through Treb and sign up for some classes so that you can educate your clients. You really need to know your stuff. Things are changing all the time. I know some realtors wake up in the morning and the first thing they do is they read whatever is new in real estate. So, you know, just have something that you're consistent with so that you're constantly improving yourself and continuing your education so that you can provide that value to your clients. You also want to be a resource in terms of sharing industry experts. So, you know, of course, we can't be experts at all things, but we have experts at our fingertips. So if they have questions about first-time home buyer, you know, HSC rebates, whatever it is, you know, put them in touch with your mortgage broker or, you know, whatever it is. So really make sure that you're expanding your network every day. So if you don't have a client to meet, maybe reach out to somebody in the industry that, you know, might help you service your clients better. And take the extra steps. So, you know, this is a good one to remember. Oftentimes we have people inquiring about properties, and sometimes, again, especially right now, the market the way it is, they might already be sold conditionally. If that's the case, let them know, and then put a little note for yourself in your calendar, however you keep track of these dates. But make sure to diarize it so that you can follow up with that client at the end of the week or whenever it is to let them know, did that deal firm up or did it fail, right? And then if it's no longer available, then hopefully that's, you know, a talking point, right? You can let them know what it sold for, so then they have the expectation of, you know, what's going on in the market. So did it sell for over what they were asking, which we're seeing a lot of right now. So just inform your clients, take that extra step, let them know, you know, what's happening with the properties that they inquired about. It's a good reason to reach out. So it's a good talking point. It educates them, and then it also, yeah, just keeps that dialogue going. So take that extra step and stay in touch. So we get these leads all the time, and if you're feeling like, you know, you didn't have a lead today, or, you know, you got 2 yesterday but none today, you should still be reaching out to everybody who came into your CRM. So that should be a list of hundreds of people in there. For those of you who have been with Zolo for even just several months, you should have a number of people that you can reach out to and stay in touch with. And, you know, if that's diarizing a property that they were inquiring about, again, that's one way to reach out. But you might also want to have monthly newsletters or just something where you're always, you know, top of mind, staying in front of those people all the time. And then, of course, don't forget to thank them. Thank them for, you know, choosing you as their realtor. Thank them for the business once you get to that stage. So really appreciate them using you. Of course, they have a choice. There's so many realtors out there. So really, you want to be providing that customer service, adding value, really listening to them and thanking them for the business. And last but not least, ask for feedback. That's the best way to find out what it is that you can do to improve your services. And it's definitely also a great way to ask for referrals, right? So if they're satisfied with the experience they had with you, then you can ask them, you know, for any other business that, you know, if they have friends or family that are also looking, you can ask them to be top of mind. So those are some tips there. Barb, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so just wanted to mention to everybody again, and I know I've said this at the beginning, but not as many people were here. But when you're talking to somebody, whether it's a lease, a buy, whether it's high end, low end, it doesn't matter. You're talking to another person who has inquired about a property that we're offering information on. So when they're not responded to, it's a problem. It's a problem for you, it's a problem for Zolo, and it's a problem for the client. So it doesn't go well when a lead gets passed around. So I want to reiterate, please don't pass your leads around or randomly transfer them to other agents expecting them to know they're getting a lead transferred and expecting them to call. And if we see leads that are just consistently being transferred and not dialed, you know, we're going to have to speak to the agents about that, because that's not the expectation. So again, not every lead is going to be a deal. Not every lead is going to be great. but there are great leads. I have an agent on my team actually who's gotten working with over 10 buyers right now. And these are just leads that have come in January. So the leads, there's a lot of leads right now. There's a lot of opportunity, but just because the leads are given to you guys, remember, if you were buying every single lead at one of these other brokerages, if you're paying for these leads, how would you treat that lead every time you called it? I mean, think about it. Just treat the leads kindly. A lease can become a buyer. That client can go on your database. They may buy a house one day and they may refer you. We're not a discount brokerage. We're not a brokerage where it's a volume-based business. We're here to build loyalty to Zolo, to you as a Zolo agent. So the more loyalty and relationship, and Manoj said it amazing, empathy is one of the biggest things you can have, and learning how to read people. So if you can get those two things, take some courses, go online, figure out how to read people, you'll lose less clients, you'll figure out when they're not serious, and you'll really, really help yourself in terms of, you know, real estate, but also in life. So that's my little rant to end my part of the session. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, Barb. So before I open it up for questions, I did just want to announce our Customer Service Award for January. And this also comes with a $250 gift card. So I'd like to congratulate Kendra Catrone. She is the award winner this month. She provided excellent customer service to first-time homebuyers. They sent a beautiful 4-paragraph email, but just highlighting how she was reliable, outstanding speed and quality of help. She was patient. She was knowledgeable about the area. She went above and beyond to ensure that their long-term interest was served. So a really amazing email. So great job to Kendra. And yeah, if you guys have, you know, clients that you've been working with, have them write you a review, have them, you know, post it on our Google page or channel. And yeah, maybe next month you'll be the recipient of a $250 gift card. So thank you to Kendra for her amazing job.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so if you guys do have any questions, we have Manoj here and Barb for a few more minutes. But yeah, really to reiterate what Barb was saying before, if you have a lead that comes in and it's a low-end lease, don't just auto transfer it. That you know, is not providing customer service. I do believe that right now, if a lease comes in that's less than 1,300, that it should be going to our customer service representative. So you shouldn't be getting anything lower than that. So hopefully, you know, that will eliminate the auto transfers. Call these people back, provide them with service. If they don't have the credit score that they need, then just explain the process of leasing and maybe provide them with the listing agent's contact information directly if they're inquiring about a specific property. Otherwise, you know, refer them to Kijiji. So at least you're providing them with information and value. You're redirecting them where they need to go. And then same thing with buyers that are outside of the area. You know, instead of just, again, auto transferring them, we do have that workplace page that you can go to, and under referrals, I see it gets used a lot, which is awesome. So if you have a lead that you can't service, not within your area, it's not somewhere you want to drive to, then just post it on Workplace. Somebody will pick it up, and then you can transfer it manually. All right.
And if Workplace, listen, if no one grabs it, you know, you can also reach out to your manager, because sometimes they might have an agent in mind that they can send it to. The issue is sometimes, again, I've mentioned this in the past, sometimes agents' CRMs are paused because they're away or they're too busy working on deals. So, you know, sometimes an agent CRM might not be on, so it's hard to transfer. So again, if there's any issue, don't leave a lead sitting waiting. That's the message. So whatever you can do to get that lead to the proper agent. And if it's really low end, you can have a conversation with the client about their options for leasing and how it would be difficult for you to get them something based on certain criteria. But there is a skill in order to deliver messages to people you can't help in a positive way. And that's something that, you know, each of you, if you're not sure how to do that, you know, you can, again, reach out to your managers and, you know, put a little dialogue together as well on that.
Awesome. Great. Well, thanks again, Barb and Manoj, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thanks to those of you who attended, and congratulations again to Kendra, and we will see you next week. Thanks,
Okay, guys, take care. Everybody have a great week.
Same here. Have a nice weekend.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.